Well, joining us now is Tauhid Pasha from the UK's head office at the International Organisation for Migration, which is the UN Migration Agency. Good morning, Tauhid. This is unprecedented, isn't it? We usually see record-breaking numbers in those hot summer months when crossings are easier and smoother, but we're now well into November and these record-breaking weeks just keep on coming. Why is that?
Yeah, the waters have been fairly calm recently, and that does make the crossings slightly easier. But the fact is that we've had over 12 people, according to our own figures as the UN Migration Agency, die this year, and that's 12 people too many. And last year there were over 20 people who actually lost their lives trying to cross the channel. So we need to really be looking at safer, more legal pathways for these people to be able to come to the UK and to claim asylum.
What do you think the answer to this is? Is it about blocking the channel, do you think, Tauhid? Or is it about giving better access to asylum routes into the UK?
Absolutely. It's about giving better access to asylum routes, because by upping up border controls, you've got to have firm borders, of course, but by upping border controls, you are driving people into the hands of smugglers and traffickers. What we really need is more safe legal pathways for people to come to the UK. We need the UK to be able to play its fair share in the wider refugee protection system. So let's think about this at a global level. We've got 26 million plus refugees globally. The UK has the lowest level since 2012. We had 16,000 asylum seekers or people granted protection last year. So that's a drop in the ocean. We are taking the right steps in the UK. I mean, with following the Afghan situation and the Taliban coming in, the UK stepped up its resettlement quota for people in Iran and Pakistan. But still, it's these neighboring countries. Let's remember, most asylum seekers and refugees go and seek asylum in their neighboring countries. Very few actually manage to get all the way across to Europe, to the Polish border or indeed the UK border. Between Iran and Pakistan, they've got 3 million refugees there alone. We've committed in the UK to settle up to 20,000 of them. We need to do more. We need to create more pathways. And those people who are coming to the UK to seek asylum, their only option is to come illegally. As you heard earlier from Amnesty, there is no visa to come to the UK to claim asylum. So when they come here, they shouldn't be penalised for that. And the new laws have to absolutely protect their rights to claim asylum according to the Geneva Convention.
Do you say there that we need to do more, that we've pledged to bring in 20,000 people and we need to meet that? I'm wondering if we know the fiscal impact of migration. In monetary terms, how much does it cost for one person crossing the channel illegally? How much does that cost the British taxpayer?
The fact is that once someone comes here and gets refugee status, they're allowed to work and they're allowed to access the labour market. And a lot of people who are coming over aren't just, as you said earlier, you have migrants who are coming over not just fleeing persecution or conflict, but they're coming for a better life, to look for a better job. We've got a shortage of truck drivers. We're trying to bring in 10,000 nurses. We should be opening up safer pathways, and we can be really creative about this, and they benefit the economy. All the figures show that when people come to the UK and they're allowed to access the labour market, they don't claim public services. They're actually putting more money back in. And so, for example, if you look at a really innovative scheme that we're looking at, where we're bringing in Syrian nurses who are displaced in Jordan and Lebanon, they've got the skills. We can benefit from those skills. They're displaced. They're living in refugee camps. Why not create better access for those people to come here and share their skills? And also, just to say it's a win-win situation, they also send money back home. They contribute to humanitarian work back at home. If you look at the UK's migrant communities, the diaspora communities, they respond to earthquakes, famines, floods, all the effects of climate change. They're the first responders. So it helps Britain. These communities, migrant communities, help Britain do their part in responding to global crises.
Asking about the cost to the British taxpayer, because although you're right, if they are granted asylum, they can work here in this country. Whilst they're being processed, they are eligible for state support for accommodation. Each asylum seeker is given £39.63 in a weekly allowance, also given free access to healthcare and education. And for pregnant women and children under 3, they are also entitled to extra support. Now, you've got to appreciate that with 1,200 people crossing on Thursday, 23,000 people crossing so far in 2021, that adds up considerably for the British taxpayer. That's unsustainable at that rate.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. When they're in the asylum system, they're not allowed to work. They are forced to be dependent upon the state. We need to get them out of the asylum system. They need to be processed much, much faster, much better, more efficiently, more fairly. And once you do that, and you'll see that they get their refugee status recognized. And we don't want them to go through an appeal system either. They need to be processed fairly, so you don't have to challenge their cases in appeal. Once they go through the system and they're allowed to work, you will see that the vast majority will be entering the labour market. There's work to do. They want to do that. They want to support their families back home. They want to support their families here. So you're right. You've got to get them processed through the asylum system. And because the asylum system is not yet fixed and there are long delays, we need to give them the opportunity to work while they're here during the asylum system. That used to happen in the past. Asylum seekers could work while they were waiting for their claims to be processed. When they have that option, the vast majority do that.
By making these points about needing the migrants to be able to work whilst they're being processed and indeed when they settle in the UK, are you saying the majority of the migrants we're seeing coming across the Channel are economic migrants?
There's always going to be a mixture. If you look at the figures, the nationalities, the vast majority are from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Eritrea and Sudan more recently, because you can see the conflicts in those countries arising. So yes, the vast majority are asylum seekers. They're not coming here. They're escaping conflict and persecution. But there are people who are, for want of a better life, coming here for more jobs, better jobs, because of their economic situation back at home, which has been exacerbated by COVID. So what we need to do is we need to look at, in a post-Brexit situation, look at how we can redress our labour shortages in the UK the answer is by creating safe and legal pathways to get to the UK. You're going to be reducing that pressure and taking people out of the hands of smugglers and traffickers.